Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, or for today's mukbang, I'm eating Indomie Goreng noodles and Korean black bean noodles. So yeah, these don't really necessarily go together, but I've always wanted to try both of these, and so I just thought I would mix it together for a mukbang. But yeah, I'm super excited to try them. And then I'm just gonna mush the eggs up really fast. So I'm also not going to eat them with chopsticks. I know technically you're supposed to, but last time I used chopsticks in a video, I literally had to edit out minutes upon minutes of me struggling to eat with them. So I need to practice, and then I'll try to use them again in a mukbang. But yeah, it was annoying to watch myself struggle on film just with chopsticks. So yeah. Those are so good. Oh my gosh. Wow. I really like these. It's everything I wanted spicy ramen to be. Well, when I tasted the texture of spicy ramen, I really liked it, but it was just too hot for me, so this is perfect. And then also for today's video, I'm going to be telling a kind of short story time. I guess I can actually start right now, but it's I was kind of inspired by Leo. I don't know if you guys know, a lot of you guys know Leo Skeppy because we did a collab together. But it kind of reminds me of a story he did on his channel with he went to this haunted house with these two friends, and then it would just turn into a nightmare of a time. So that's kind of what my story is about today. It's this one time that I went out with this girl, and it was just the worst night. So yeah, basically how I knew this girl was, it was a mutual friend type thing. So me and her followed each other on Instagram, but it wasn't we knew each other in person. We basically just followed each other because we did have mutual friends. And so we never really talked or anything like that. And then one day she added me on Snapchat, and we kind of started talking then. So it was just basic conversation, but that's kind of how we became friends. We just started talking on Snapchat. I feel she might have replied to one of my stories, or I replied to one of hers. That's really good too. So we just started talking, and I was this girl seems actually pretty cool. She had a good sense of humor. I felt we agreed on a lot of the same things. And so we eventually planned to hang out because we were just getting along really well over Snapchat. And so it didn't work out for a while. I feel things just kept popping up to where because she lived in Everett and I live in Seattle, and it's about from my apartment to her place is a 40-minute drive or so. And so it's not easy for us to hang out, right? It would have to be a planned thing, and it just never worked out. But then one night she hit me up and she was hey, what are you doing this next weekend? It's gonna be my birthday. I'm going to Vegas for my actual birthday, but I was wondering if you wanted to celebrate early with me, just go out. And So I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun, you know, like, usually I don't go out, but, like, I'll go out with you for your birthday, you know. And so we planned to meet up that weekend. And since she lived in Everett, it was going to be kind of hard because we were going to go out in Seattle because that's, like, pretty much where people go out. There's nowhere to really go out in Everett. So we were going to go out at a bar kind of by my apartment. And I didn't want to drink just because I don't really like drinking in general. And then since it was her birthday, I wanted to be like DD for her, like designated driver. And so I was like, you know, if you want, you can drive down, because she actually had another friend that was going to come with us too. And I remember she was like, yeah, it's going to be like a fun girls' night. So keep that in mind. Like, she said it was going to be like a fun girls' night. And so she had another friend from her old job that was going to come. And I was like, you guys can drive down to my apartment, or if you want, like, I can drive up to Everett and get ready with you before we leave, and then we can just all drive down together, and then that way I know that I can get you home safely because I can be driving and I can drive you guys back. And so eventually we decided that I was going to, like, head up there early, get ready with her, and then we were going to pick up her friend because her friend was working late. So we were going to pick up her friend at her job and then all head down together. And so when I get to her place, the main thing that she was talking about was there was this guy that she was talking to, and I remember she was, like, asking my advice because she didn't know if he was into her. Because, so he played for the Seahawks, and, like, she was like, he has girls all over him, like, he's not into me, like, blah, blah, blah. And so I was, like, trying to give her advice about it. And so that's, like, mainly what we were talking about when we were getting ready. And then, so we get in the car, we're all done getting ready, we're driving to go pick up her friend, and she's, like, randomly out of nowhere, she's like, oh yeah, this guy that I used to talk to, she called him, like, her old boo. She's like, my old boo wants to see me for my birthday too, so I think we're gonna meet up with him tonight if that's cool. And so, like, immediately I was just annoyed because, like, she said it was gonna be a fun girls' night. I don't know her that well, and I don't know her friend, obviously, at all. And so now we're going to meet up with more people who I don't know and I'm not interested in, like, hanging out with. I don't care about, like, this guy you used to talk to. Especially because, like, when I was asking her about him, she was telling me that they stopped talking because he randomly just stopped talking to her. And just, like, she was, like, super depressed for, like, a couple months because of it. And so I'm like, okay, so now I have to go hang out with this guy that treated you like shit. I have to pretend to like him or, like, not think that he's an asshole. And I didn't even know we were going to be doing this in the first place. Like, I wouldn't have gone out if I knew we were going to meet up with your old boo and his friends. But because it's her birthday, I'm like, whatever, you know, like, I'll just get through it. It's not a huge deal. But then she tells me that he also plays for the Seahawks. And I'm like, weren't you just telling me that you were talking to a guy on the Seahawks that you didn't know if, like, he liked you or not? She was like, yeah, but they're not friends, so, like, I don't really think it matters. I don't think that he's going to find out. So I'm like, this is just, like, a horrible idea in general. But once again, I'll keep my mouth shut because it's your birthday, and I'm not trying to be that friend that, like, is just the party pooper. And so the third straw, where I just knew this wasn't going to be a great night, is when she was talking about her old boo. She was like, oh yeah, and his brother is there. Like, I could show you some pictures of him if you, like, think that you might be interested. And I don't like being set up with people in general. I don't know, just because, especially like the setting we were gonna be in, like we were gonna be at a club, like I just didn't want to be set up with anyone, you know? It just, like I don't know him at all, I don't know anything about him. So I was like, you know, like I'm cool, like I'm not really interested in like being set up. So she was like, yeah, that's fine, like no big deal. Like you don't have to like hang out with him if you don't want to. So I was like, okay, cool. So the bar we were supposed to, or the club we were supposed to go to, it's called Baltic. So if you are familiar with Seattle, it's called Baltic, and it's kind of near downtown Capitol Hill area. And so Capitol Hill, I think this was like a Friday or Saturday night. And Capitol Hill on a Friday, Saturday night is like impossible, like nearly impossible to find parking at. And so we're literally driving around for like 20 minutes, I feel like, maybe even more than that, trying to find a parking spot. And finally we find one, okay? And it's this small parking spot, so I'm taking forever to try to like get into it, like, you know, like just trying to squeeze in because I knew I was not going to find another one. And so literally I finally park in the parking spot after reversing and like readjusting literally like 20 times. And guess what she says? She says, oh my gosh, my old boo just texted me, and he's not going to Baltic. He's going to go to Aston. And Aston is literally 15 minutes south of where we were. She's like, do you mind if we drive down there instead? Like, I really want to see him. So I was like, let me get this straight. We just looked for parking for 20 minutes to find parking, park, and then have this guy that literally dropped you out of nowhere text you and say that he changed the plans and now you're going to go out of your way to go see him. Okay. But once again, because it was her birthday, I hardly knew her. I didn't want to be that friend. I was like, whatever, that's fine. We can go drive down there. It's not a big deal. So we start heading down to Aston. We have to get on the freeway again, drive south, because Aston's like literally randomly like in the south of Seattle. And when we get there, we like walk into the club or whatever, and she immediately goes over to like her old boo. I hate saying that word, but that's what she called it, so that's what I'm going to say. So we go over to her old boo, and I guess him and his teammates had bought this table at the club, so that's where we were hanging out. So we were at the table, and his brother's there too. And I could tell, like, from the beginning that she hadn't told the brother that I wasn't interested in being set up, because he immediately starts, like, creepily dancing on me and just being, like, I mean, he was drunk, but, like, if you're a girl, you know how guys act when they're drunk. And just, like, ugh, like, and I just, like, was, like, sorry, you know, like, I'm not interested. And so then after that, he left me alone, but it's, like, annoying that she never told him that I wasn't interested. She probably just like said that I would be down to like be set up with him, and then like never told them that I wasn't. So then literally, even though it was supposed to be a girls' night, for the rest of the night, or for like half of the rest of the night, she's like all over the guy that she like went to meet. And so me and her friend, I don't know her friend at all. Like, me and her friend are just like not drinking, because her friend didn't want to drink either. We're just like not drinking, just like hanging out, like kind of like okay, so I guess that girl just kind of just ditched us for this random guy. So like I immediately just wanted to go home, but I was stranded because I drove them there, and even though she, like, the girl practically ditched me, I didn't want to like leave her stranded 40 minutes from where she lives with no ride back, you know? So I was like literally pretty much stranded there just because my dumbass decided to be nice and like drive someone to the club for their birthday. And so for like the first 20 minutes or so, my friend was like hanging out with the guy that she went to meet at the club. But then like 15 minutes later, she comes back over to me and her other friend and is all pissed, and she's like, I don't even know, I probably should have given them names, but I didn't. So she was like, the guy that she came with, she was like, he literally just started dancing with this other girl right in front of me. Which, I don't know why you're surprised, because from what I've heard, he's not a nice guy, but... So she was super pissed. She's super upset. She's super drunk. She's like... Just like, you know when you're drunk and like you get more upset than you really should be? I'm like, sweet. Sounds mean, but I'm like, sweet. This is like a chance for us to leave. Like, I can go home now. And so I'm like, you know, like, he's an idiot. Like, I'm sorry, but, you know, we can leave if you want. Like, did you want to go? And... apparently not, because her next move is to blatantly try to make the guy jealous. Which I always find super cringeworthy, because it's like, if you're obviously trying to make someone jealous, it's just, they're probably not going to be jealous. They're probably just going to be like embarrassed for you. And so she starts like dancing on this other guy, blatantly trying to do it like right in front of the guy she came with. And I don't think he really cared. From what I could see, he wasn't really reacting to it. So I can no longer watch. So I am just like done watching at that point. My feet hurt super bad because I was in heels, and I didn't want to sit down in the section because the guys that were in the section were being super creepy. And that's not even really part of the story, but just like basically just like drunk guys just being weird. And so I didn't want to be like sitting down in a section. So I was standing up and my feet hurt, so I was like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom really fast. And so I literally probably sit in the bathroom for like 15 minutes, just like literally screw this. And when I come back out, guess what my friend tells me? Well, actually, she's like, where were you? I was looking for you. Like, sorry, I was hiding in the bathroom for like the past 30 minutes. But she's like, hey, well, she's drunk, and she's like, hey, I think I'm gonna go home with the guy that she came there with. She's like, I think I'm gonna go home with him, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wasn't he just dancing with someone else? And like, you were super mad. She was like, yeah, but I was just like overreacting. Like, and so I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, literally, I was like, are you sure that you want to go home with this guy that, like, I know you're drunk right now. Like, I don't want you to make a mistake that you're going to regret. And she was like, yeah, I'm sure. So I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. You want to go home with this guy, and the whole reason I stayed here was because you needed to ride back from me. but now you are going home with him, so you don't need to ride back for me. So basically, you used me to go down to this club and basically go home with this guy. And she was like, no, it's not like that, blah, blah, blah. And I literally cut her off and I was like, does your friend still need a ride? Like, because I can go home right now. Like, does your friend need a ride, or are you gonna, like, you gonna take care of that? She was like, I think she might still need a ride. So basically, I was forced to drive her friend back 40 minutes north from where we were. And this other girl just literally ditched us for some guy that I didn't even know we were meeting up with when I got to her house. And my favorite part about it is, like, no one offered to pay me for gas or anything like that. No, the guy was just the chauffeur for the night. And then the next morning she texted me and she was like, I'm really sorry for last night. I was drunk and, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you made the decision to meet up with those guys and, like, not really ask if I was okay with it before you were drunk. So I'm done with you. So, yeah, that is my story time about the night where I probably had the worst time that I've ever had going out, and where I got used as, like, being a chauffeur. It's kind of like a stupid, quick story time, but I didn't have that much food because it was just ramen, so I didn't want to do just anything super crazy. So, yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I really enjoyed the noodles. They were a lot different than I thought they'd be, but in a good way. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this mukbang, and I will see you in next week's video.